Abhimanyu is a well-known sergeant in the city. One day, he leaves home carrying a bag full of money. He places the bag inside his car and sets off toward his destination. Just then, he receives a call from the owner of the hospital where he works as a sergeant. In an irritated tone, the owner asks if he remembered to bring the money bag, because without the money, their case will not be solved. Last year, during an appendix surgery performed by Abhimanyu, the patient died. The patient's family filed a case against him, and the situation became so serious that even his lawyer admitted they could not win the case in court. Their only hope was to settle with the patient's family, who agreed to withdraw the case if they received 5 crore rupees. And today was the last day to pay them. While driving, Abhimanyu keeps receiving calls from unknown numbers. At first, he ignores them, but eventually, out of irritation, he picks up. The man on the other end tells him that he has kidnapped his daughter and demands 5 crore rupees as ransom. He says he will call again in 15 minutes and inform Abhimanyu where to bring the money. Hearing this, Abhimanyu becomes startled and asks to speak with his daughter, Radhika. The kidnapper replies that he has sedated her and hangs up. Abhimanyu immediately tries calling back, but the kidnapper does not receive the call. So he calls his ex-wife, but she ignores him too and sends a message saying she is busy and will call later. Meanwhile, Abhimanyu's current girlfriend calls, and he asks her if she discussed the 5 crore rupees with anyone else. She was the only one who knew about it, but she insists she didn't tell anyone. This makes Abhimanyu suspect someone might be playing a prank on him. He even feels that he has heard the kidnapper's voice somewhere before, though he can't remember where. Right after the girlfriend hangs up, Abhimanyu's ex-wife calls back and starts arguing about their daughter. Radhika had been one of the major reasons for their divorce. She wasn't like other children. She had Down syndrome since birth. She couldn't move or speak like others, and her condition often made them feel helpless. Abhimanyu, being a renowned doctor, couldn't accept that his own daughter would never be healthy or normal like other children. To him, Radhika's future looked hopeless. Although Abhimanyu thought the kidnapping call might be a prank, something inside him continued to bother him, so he asked his ex-wife to check whether Radhika was at school. He also informed her about the kidnapping call, but instead of understanding the situation, she blamed him in return. How could he think she was irresponsible? She herself always dropped Radhika at school and picked her up. Then she cut the call. Just then, the unknown number calls again. Thinking it's a prank, Abhimanyu jokingly starts talking, but the kidnapper calmly tells him that there is only 1 hour and 12 minutes left until sunset. Before that, Abhimanyu must deliver the money and safely pick up Radhika. Otherwise, her condition will be very bad. He instructs Abhimanyu to leave the money at a specific location and warns him not to wait there afterward. Abhimanyu starts suspecting that his ex-wife might be involved in the kidnapping. Why else would the kidnapper call only him and not her? But when he asks the kidnapper about this, the man evades the question and disconnects the call. Moments later, Abhimanyu's ex-wife calls again and says she phoned the school, but Radhika is not there. However, Abhimanyu dismisses her words as another trick. He knows she can do anything to trap him, so he switches off his phone. After driving some distance, Abhimanyu gets stuck in traffic. He notices a little girl in a car ahead, smiling sweetly and waving at him. This instantly reminds him of Radhika. No matter what, she is still his daughter. He calls his ex-wife Bobby again. Bobby says she knows nothing about any kidnapping and asks whether they should inform the police. Abhimanyu still has the 5 crore rupees, but for another purpose. If he gives away that money, his career and reputation will be destroyed. So he asks Bobby to arrange the money instead. But Bobby already has many loans and cannot arrange such a huge amount. She tells him that only Abhimanyu can do something. After hearing the whole story, she understands how important that money is to him, but a mother's heart cannot ignore the danger to her child. She insists that Abhimanyu should use that money to save their daughter. Abhimanyu knows that if he fails to pay the patient's family, he might end up in jail. Bobby reminds him how, during their last meeting, he said terrible things about Radhika, things their daughter overheard. After a moment of silence, Abhimanyu again sees the sweet little girl in the car ahead and finally tells Bobby that he is ready to give the settlement money to the kidnapper. He messages the kidnapper, asking for the location, and notices that only 50 minutes remain. He doubles the speed and races toward the spot. Meanwhile, worried about his career, he calls his girlfriend again and tells her everything, asking for 5 crore rupees. But she is thinking differently. She believes the family of the patient must be behind the kidnapping. They want money, and also want him jailed. The kidnapper's demand of 5 crore rupees and the settlement amount being the same cannot be a coincidence. She urges him to go to the police. Abhimanyu asks for some time to think. The kidnapper's voice still feels familiar to him. While scrolling through photos of Radhika on his phone, he notices one of her teachers. Suddenly the truth becomes clear. The kidnapper is none other than her class teacher. That's why the voice felt so familiar. It was her favorite teacher, Prashad. Just then, Bobby calls. But Abhimanyu accuses her, saying he knows who the kidnapper is and believes she is behind all of this, using their daughter as bait for money. He hangs up and reaches the hospital. At that moment, another video call comes from the unknown number. When he answers, he sees Radhika tied up and unconscious in an old room. After showing him this, the kidnapper reminds him of the time and hangs up. Abhimanyu turns on his GPS and heads toward the kidnapper's location. While driving, he receives a furious call from his senior, demanding to know when he will reach the hospital to pay the settlement money. But Abhimanyu replies that he cannot give the money and hangs up. He then calls his lawyer and says he wants to handle everything in court. But the lawyer is in a meeting and disconnects the call. His girlfriend calls again, and Abhimanyu admits that Radhika has truly been kidnapped by her schoolteacher Prashad. Tormented with guilt, he says that if he fails to save her today, he will never be at peace again. Hearing this, his girlfriend asks him a question. If something happened to her, if she had an accident today, would he worry about her this way? Would he come running for her? Abhimanyu has no answer. His silence says everything. She finally tells him that she cannot continue this relationship. She will not live as his second priority. Just then, a nurse from the ICU calls Abhimanyu, informing him that the CT scan report of bed number 33 is in, and the patient's condition is critical. Emergency surgery is needed immediately, but Abhimanyu cannot go to the hospital now. He tells her to call Dr. Chatterjee. At that moment, the police call. They have learned everything about the kidnapping from Bobby. When they ask Abhimanyu for the location, he uses poor network as an excuse and hangs up. Moments later, a nurse calls him again, saying the patient's condition is extremely critical and there are no doctors available at the moment. So he must come immediately to save the patient. But right then, Abhimanyu remembers his junior. Although his junior has never performed surgery before, Abhimanyu calls him and tells him that today, he must operate and save a life that is standing at the edge of certain death. Since the junior has never done such an operation before, he hesitates. But Abhimanyu assures him there's nothing to worry about. He will guide him through a video call. At that moment, Abhimanyu receives a call from his lawyer, who informs him that they cannot win the case in court. After the patient's death, drugs were found in Abhimanyu's bloodstream, so there is practically no chance of winning. When Abhimanyu refuses to accept this, he asks whether they can at least cover the penalty, but the lawyer says insurance only covers accidents, not reckless lifestyles. Abhimanyu ends the call without arguing further. Meanwhile, Bobby is restless too. She calls Abhimanyu again to ask about Radhika. He tells her that Prashad showed him through a video call that Radhika has fainted and they have only 29 minutes left. Abhimanyu sends her a location and tells her not to forward it to the police. He repeatedly apologizes to Bobby and begs her to withdraw the police complaint. He promises that no matter what it takes, he will bring Radhika back. There is still a little time left, but the roads are in terrible condition. And then his car tire bursts, making things even worse for him. But the situation doesn't end there. His junior calls, saying he is ready for the operation. While fixing his car, Abhimanyu guides him through the entire surgery over video call. The patient's condition worsens, but after a long struggle, Abhimanyu and his junior finally manage to save him. Just then, Prashad calls and says Radhika is acting strangely. Abhimanyu immediately instructs him on what to do, and following his guidance, Radhika stabilizes. Prashad then reminds him about sunset and ends the call. Abhimanyu fixes his car and starts driving again, but soon notices a police car following him. Prashad calls once more and shares the location. It's a tunnel. He tells Abhimanyu to leave the bag there but not to wait. However, Abhimanyu asks for a little more time since the police are on his tail. Hearing this, Prashad says he himself called the police and told them everything. If the police didn't chase Abhimanyu, he wouldn't hurry and reach the spot in time. But now it's Abhimanyu's responsibility to make sure the police do not reach the tunnel. Finally, the police veer off into another road, and Abhimanyu realizes they were never actually following him. Prashad had lied. When Abhimanyu confronts him, Prashad says everyone calls him crazy, but he's actually very clever. He threatens Abhimanyu again, tells him what to do next, and hangs up. Abhimanyu reaches the tunnel and drops the money bag about a kilometer before the actual location, then runs ahead to find his daughter. But just then, a car hits him violently, dislocating his kneecap. Even then, he refuses to give up. Fighting through the pain, he forces himself to stand. A father's deep, suppressed love bursts out through his cries, pushing him forward. Injured and breathless, Abhimanyu runs toward where he thinks Radhika is. He finds a row of sacks and assumes she is tied up inside one of them. He opens them one by one, only to discover Radhika is not there. Instead, he finds the same bag containing 50 million rupees, the one he had dropped in the tunnel earlier. Before he can process what's going on, he gets another call, this time not from Prashad, but from his 16-year-old daughter, Radhika. She asks him whether he really thinks she's crazy, because what she says next is something Abhimanyu is completely unprepared for. She reveals that she is the mastermind behind the entire plan. She stole Abhimanyu's phone and read all his chats. She knew the deadline, the money, and the location. It all came from her, but she wasn't sure she could manage everything alone. So she sought help from her school teacher, Prashad sir, because he loved her more than Abhimanyu ever did. To Abhimanyu, she never deserved respect. She says he always thought she was so stupid that she didn't deserve to live in this world. She continues, Abhimanyu is the worst father on earth, and she wants him to feel that pain. Now she can finally tell everyone that her father is truly insane. Abhimanyu remembers all the cruel things he had said to his daughter, to his ex-wife, to Prashad sir, even to his current girlfriend. Every word now feels like a permanent stain on him as a father. He tells Radhika he loves her dearly and will never leave her alone again. But Radhika replies, even if you were stupid, you would still be my father. Then she hangs up, leaving Abhimanyu drowning in guilt. A few minutes later, in the rain, Radhika appears in front of him, holding an umbrella. She wipes his tears and extends her hand toward the physically and emotionally shattered Abhimanyu. Finally, smiling through their pain and forgetting all the past wounds, father and daughter embrace each other. And from a distance, Prashad sir quietly watches this emotional reunion. And with this heartfelt moment, today's movie comes to an end. If you enjoyed the movie, don't forget to like and subscribe.